Telltale Guys, Kaala Bandar.
What's your ETA? We'll be there in 2 minutes. Come on, we have lives to save here.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Again, this is Telltale Guys. As you can see, Josh is still in his I don't know what his setup is going on right now. I'm
Spare
in
bedroom.
Yeah. So you're still working on renovations?
Yes, it's going on forever. Hopefully one day. I'm told there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it will be done shortly. Right now, they're doing the painting portion, so just inhaling all the fumes currently. So that's fun. What about you? It looks like you got a new setup there. What is that room?
Yeah,
That's
temporary new setup. I'm smelling and inhaling all the fumes of the Chicago city landscape. So
Okay.
probably just as healthy. But yeah, I'm in Chicago for work. I'm at the Chicago Hilton, or the Hilton Chicago, which is pretty cool. And it's by kind of the museum district area right off of Lake Michigan, if anyone is familiar. And this is actually my first time here. I've flown there before, but I've never really explored Chicago. And so I got to do a kind of a bucket list thing. I went over to Wrigley Field last night. Unfortunately, couldn't go to a game because they are a sad trash franchise and did not make the playoff. But so at some point, I'm going to make a game because that's a goal of mine, is to go to like every park.
Okay, that's a fun goal. Otherwise, you just have to make do with jumping on each one of your beds, I guess. And
yes, I've got like two queens.
Nice.
But as Josh was asking, like, am I switching every night to sleep in each one? And no,
That's what I do. I like to get housekeeping to just keep them on their toes so they don't know which one I'm in.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah, just frustrate them so they
yeah, pretty much. Would you get to go to anything cool while you're out there other than the Wrigley Field?
Yeah, so with Wrigley, just walked around and went to like a pub nearby, and that was good. But I wanted to, since I said like we're in the museum district, I haven't been to like a museum in a while. So they have the Field Museum, which is a museum of natural history. So I thought I'd check that out. But I was like, I wonder if there's any like stories associated with it. And they do have an Egyptian section. And there was actually just one quick story. There was like supposed haunting back in the 30s. And so I'll just kind of show pictures I have when I took during my little tour. Here's some mummies right here. Sorry, it's a little dark. But this is not the exact mummy that I'm about to talk about, but this kind of sets the stage for you guys. So the Shrieking Mummy at the Field Museum in Chicago. So one night around the 1930s, a museum guard at the Field Museum heard a blood-curdling scream coming from the Egyptian wing. He found no one there, but one of the mummies had fallen from its base and was lying face down inside of its case. So kind of go back into the story. It's usually said that the mummy was that of Harwa, the doorkeeper of the Temple of Amun, which has been in the museum's collection since 1904. I tried to look up this name on each of the captions there were several mummies displayed, and I must not be there anymore. A lot of them were unknown mummies. Like you can see here is like an adult below, and I think there are two children in the back.
Okay.
But so this was a specific mummy they had back then, and the earliest mention of the incident was in a bulletin from the Field Museum reprinting from an older piece by Henry Field, who I think is one of the founders, from 1953. And there was like rumors like the mummy was naked and like there was all sorts of shenanigans, but I think it was covered. So, but there was some speculation about the story and some kind of veering off of what happened. But Henry Field, who was an anthropologist and a grandnephew of Marshall Field, he might have been the founder, wrote that he studied it carefully, but he could find no explanation for why the mummy fell over. And any way a person can knock it down, because the case was actually filled with these type of poisonous fumes they used back then to keep bugs out.
Oh,
So it almost sounds like a curse in itself, like
yeah.
like something straight up from the Mummy movie, but I guess
Mummy gas.
mummy gas. But this was to kind of preserve the mummy from bugs.
Okay.
Henry Field wrote in this little booklet, the base extended at least 4 inches on each side of the dried skin and bones. No living person could have entered the poisoned case. No vibration in the building could have knocked it off the base without rending the walls, for the museum floats on an island of concrete, there being no hard pan on the filled-in land along the lakefront. And this is right on the lake, so they have like just bunch of concrete keeping this thing steady. So vibration seems unlikely. There's
So the mummy's in a case standing up, and it fell in like over in the case, or the whole case fell over.
It fell like inside the case, like
Inside.
So
okay, so it's like leaning in the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it like fell out of like this like sarcophagus type thing, and was this upside down, not upside down, but on its face.
Oh.
There is still no explanation of the scream or of the fallen mummy. This is something that we cannot explain. So that's creepy.
Yeah. That's
I didn't see any screaming or hear any screaming mummies when I went, but I got to see some mummies.
Well, that's nice. I would think I would not want to be a museum guard with all the weird old stuff they have in there, and certainly something's haunted, especially a mummy with a curse. No, thank you.
That'd be bad. That'd probably one of the worst nightmares.
The mummy chasing you.
Yeah, that's just not fun. I remember, even though the Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser is kind of funny in a way, I remember it freaked me out as a kid, because that was like probably the worst possible thing that could happen with a mummy curse.
Yeah, I think my takeaway from the Mummy movie was that one fight scene with the two women is like, oh, that's a nice scene.
Yeah. Don't really care about the fight anymore, but just the ladies.
Yeah, it's like, what is this movie about? I don't know. Something.
And then just real quick, just so people can see kind of fun stuff, I took these pictures to here's some mummified falcons.
Let's see. Can we make that big?
Yeah.
Bigify it? Bigly?
But here, these are like falcons. I think falcons are pretty revered.
That's cool. That's from Egypt.
In Egyptian mythology. This was a goddess cat, little altar area.
Okay.
And here's another, apparently a vicious, mean goddess cat.
Okay, yeah.
But this is from the Egyptian wing of Field Museum in Chicago. So if you're ever interested and you're over there, go check it out. It was pretty cool. All right.
Looks very cool. I think maybe Telltale Guy's travel guide will be something on our list to do. Maybe we'll make a book of travel things.
That's our new offshoot for our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we'll make a new channel for that, maybe.
Yeah. But I hear from you, we have a different culture we're going to examine.
Yes, a different world, part of the world for the Kaala Bandar. And for this one's name, we're going over to India. Have you ever been to India?
No, I would like to go. I'm sure it would be, I really like the food, but I'm sure it would be kind of intimidating just with the language barrier. And there's so many people.
I think they speak a lot of English there, though.
They do?
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it's one of those countries where it can be difficult, like, some other Asian countries. But I would like to check it out. I kind of recently fallen in love with Indian food. So I was like, I think I would really enjoy it, but I could see how it could be kind of overwhelming because there's so many people, especially in the big urban areas. But I mean, what about you? On your travels, did you ever go over there? I know you went to Japan.
I was in Japan. Mostly, and I never went to India. I don't really have a strong desire to go there necessarily because I'm not a big fan of the food. I mean, I like some curries and some of the rice dishes and stuff, but overall, I keep trying it, just hoping like maybe I'll get into it this time, but it's either way too spicy when I eat it, like it blows my mouth out, and I can eat spicy food, or it's like really mushy, and I was like, So maybe I just hadn't had the right thing yet. So if you know something good to try from Indian cuisine, let me know or let us know in the comments, and maybe I'll try it next time I get an inkling to try some
That's
Indian
the worst
food.
thing when you do, like, you order a meal, you've paid for this meal, and it's too spicy, and it's like that's
Done,
waste.
son. Yeah. But, for this particular story, let me set the scene for you, Zane, because I don't think you're familiar with the Kaala Bandar. I don't
Not
think
at all.
I think I'm pronouncing that right. But imagine, if you will, you're in India and New Delhi in the city, and it's getting very hot, at night because you're in India. So to escape the heat, you go sleep up on your roof, just trying to make it a little bit more tolerable. And all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, you get attacked. What's attacking you? Something slashing at your face, clawing at your legs. You're looking, you don't see anything. And then out of the corner of your eye, you see like this dark figure, and it just zooms away, bounces off your rooftop to the next rooftop. Well, you've just been attacked by the Kaala Bandar.
Wow. All right.
So, for those of you not up on your Hindi, Kaala Bandar means black monkey. And this thing first appeared, or, the attacks of this black monkey. I think it's also called the monkey man sometimes, but I like Kaala Bandar. So the black monkey, as it was first sighted in the summer of 2001 in New Delhi, India. And let's go ahead and show people where that is in case you aren't familiar with India. It's up in the north part of India there, right in the center, New Delhi.
Mm-hmm.
And it is described, the Kaala Bandar is described as being about 4 feet tall, has dark hair, and has more like a man-like body, like a large monkey or a smallish man. That's kind of how it's been described.
Already sounds freaky.
Yeah, but it's not too tall, but 4.5 feet, and it's hairy. So just think of either like a shorter man that's kind of like a man monkey, or a monkey man type of thing.
Seems like we're getting like Wizard of Oz territory or something like that.
A little bit stockier and bigger than that, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe think of just something that crazy. So here's an actual picture of what people described it looks like.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so it is this, like I said, it's described about 4 feet tall. And police reports say that there was about 100 people who were attacked by the Kaala Bandar in the summer. And about half of those people were attacked in one night. So it was a very short period of time. And it seemed that the attack, most of their victims from the rooftops, and people would sleep on the roofs, as I mentioned earlier, setting the scene for you, to escape the summer heat. So a lot of people did this, and they probably still do, because I don't think there's a lot of air conditioning there. So they get up on the roofs, it's cooler. Now, just kind of give you an idea. Oh, I don't know if you can read that description there, but it's basically what I said. It's there's can you read that, Zane? It's got
sure.
I'm on half screen.
The police say the creature is 4'6", so my height basically. Wears only a dark coat of hair. Eyewitnesses also say it's 5'6". Wears black and sports a helmet, and so and shining red eyes. Yeah. So that's two descriptions of it there. A helmet is an interesting bit of information there, I'd say. Yeah. But let's show you here New Delhi. Right. This is the rooftops. So it's very crowded. It's, I think, one of the most densely. Yeah. New Delhi is one of the most densely populated cities in the world. So the city itself, it's about 573 square miles and has a density of about 29,000 people per square mile. That is an insane amount of people per square mile. And here's an overview of the city. God. Look at that. That is so dense. Like, I don't even think New York is like that. No. Speaking of like fumes, like just seems so unhealthy to live in. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they have a large, slum area. Yeah. It's not the best of places to be. But yeah, so anyways, back to the Kaala Bandar. So a bounty was put out to capture this creature for 50,000 rupees. And that is, I think, about $1,000 US dollars. Okay. Now, some reports say it, like you were reading the description, Zane, it had a helmet. Some people said it had a helmet. And other reports indicate that the monkey face, it might have been like a mask type thing. So there's little discrepancy there. It was wearing a monkey mask on its face, right? So eyewitnesses, a man named Anil
Anil Gopal said he was sleeping on his rooftop on April 5th. Not really the summertime, but I think it's more spring, summertime. But I think over there it's all summertime.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's sleeping on his rooftop on April 5th. And around 2 a.m., he was awakened as he was being attacked by this entity. He received scratches on his arms and legs. And despite the sudden attack from a sleeping state, he managed to escape this thing. Now, because of it being nighttime, he didn't get a good look at the thing, but he said that it was a monkey-like shape that disappeared into the night. So very fast, not a lot of, not a good look at it, but that's what he said. That was one of the eyewitnesses. Now, this was the first encounter, but after that attack, it was like largely silent for about 2 weeks until April 18th, when another man in the neighborhood was attacked, and again, while sleeping on his rooftop. This man, his name was Vinod, I believe, and according to these reports, he was awoken around 3 a.m., the same experience, also getting attacked. And due to the darkness, he couldn't get a good look at the attacker, but he said that the figure looked like a monkey. All right. So the next night, another attack on a man named Rahasuddin, something like that. He was sleeping in his house when a monkey-like creature attacked him, and he was so badly injured that it took 21 days before he could return to work. And that attack seemed to open like the floodgates, right? So after that, just a bunch more attacks happened. And the following days saw similar attacks across the city, all with similar marks on their arms and legs, and some with bite marks. So imagine the viciousness of this attack, and it takes you 21 days to go back to work. Although maybe you milk it a little bit, maybe you were fine after, 15 days. I don't know. But
I mean, monkey attacks, like, ones that are really documented, can be really vicious, if not lethal. So
yeah,
this creature sounds like it can be pretty similar to some sort of ape. And those things, I don't really like apes in general. So
no,
because of that.
Yeah, let's see here. Where'd my slides go? Did you? There they are. Okay.
I want to get our faces back on. Besides looking at the intense
rooftops
cityscape.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. So this is a bite mark of one of the victims. This is from an AP interview, just showing you the kind of hard to see a little bit, but it looks like some kind of scratches or bite marks there. Kind
not
of
the worst that I would imagine, but still not fun.
Yeah, this wasn't the guy who was in 21 days in hospital. This was just one of the other attack victims.
Okay.
So, this thing, it was started making the news because it was a big event. People were scared. This is the AP, big news organization, right? It made CNN over there in India. The Monkey Man of Delhi 6. I will admit it was kind of hard researching this particular story because, one, it was in India, so there's a language barrier there for me to kind of associate. But there was also a movie made about it some time ago, and I think it was also called The Monkey Man of New Delhi 6. So I'm not sure if this was talking about the movie, but it was Face the Nation. So it seems like this was really more associated with the actual attacks to me, because that's a serious show topic. They don't cover like movie reviews. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah. So it was in CNN. So from April to May, the police handled about 100 calls from people saying that they were being attacked by, the Monkey Man, the Kaala Bandar. And this is kind of the area of New Delhi of where it was happening, just to kind of give you an idea. If you're familiar with New Delhi, it doesn't really mean a lot to me, but maybe to you.
It does not.
Not to you, the royal you, the listeners.
Oh.
So the BBC reported on May 18th that the Monkey Man was reported from about 65 locations in this area, in the map here, that led to 3 deaths. So some reports seem to indicate that 2 men tried to escape this thing that when they got attacked by running off their roofs. So they were like so frightened, they jumped off their roofs and died. And another account of a pregnant woman, she got scared because this thing was coming after her. She fell downstairs and apparently she died as well.
Oh,
so all these attacks, from all these hundreds or so attacks, the creature left no footprints, no evidence to examine except the scratches and bites, like I showed you a little bit earlier there. And as you can imagine, the people were getting panicky about the situation. Neighbors would shout that the monkey man is coming, run! And people would flee and scatter and everything, because just the mere mention of it would frighten them. And this is kind of like shouting fire in a crowded theater. It would create more problems, and many people got their bones broken from stampedes or whatever. People rushing to get out of the way. They injure themselves trying to get away from this creature or whatever it was that was attacking. So mere shadows were enough of the there's something, there's a shadow moving over here in the corner. So just that suggestion of something kind of moving creepily, that was indication, that's the monkey man in the area. So, but despite that, a lot of these preemptive sightings of people rarely, if at all, got a good look at the Kaala Bandar's face. And I think the terror of something coming for you, coupled with the night, led to a few different descriptions that we have. So, it's nighttime. People are already amped up on fear. You don't get a good look at it. So you're going to get a little variation on what's happening here, which is why I think some people said it was wearing a helmet. Some people say it was, didn't have a helmet, whatever. But here's an actual description from one of the victims. His name is Ajay, I believe. He was one of the first victims. So let me add this to stage and let people.
Fair complexion, had facial features of Chinese, Nepali people, a big fat nose. His eyes were big and blue.
All right, so very quick description there of what he was seeing, but he described this thing a little bit differently than what other people saw. But he's saying, he kind of said it looked like how Chinese people look like, and the nose and eyes, but it had blue eyes to him as opposed to the red eyes that other people described. So after initial reports, we got some saying this thing was 4 to 5 feet tall. Some people were claiming it was an 8-foot giant, while others said it was tiny, like a house cat. So it's kind of all over the place here on some of these descriptions. Although I'd say the most common one was that it was 4 to 5 feet tall, right? That's the bulk of what is getting reported. But now some reports did come in that this thing had a helmet, as mentioned earlier, which is very interesting because, that's very odd. Now, other accounts was that it had hard, sharp, metallic-like claws, all right, and red eyes, could jump really high, like 20 feet, and 20 feet as it jumped from rooftop to rooftop, and as kind of like this thing had springs in its feet or something resembling rollerblades, some people describe. So it had something weird on its feet that let it jump really high, had these metal things, had weird eyes, kind of an odd description, right? But let's hold that description here, what I just said, like the jumping thing, the feet, the metallic claws, just keep that in mind for later. All right.
Monkey Batman prowling
kind of, yeah.
Streets of New Delhi.
Yeah, keep that, or with Wolverine claws, I think too. Something like that. But some of the more fantastical claims attributed to it include electricity that ran through its arms. All right. And get this, it had 3 buttons on its shirt, or whatever it was wearing. It had 3 buttons, some sort of control panel. All right. So I guess they attribute some powers, of this thing to these buttons. Okay. So the first button, they said, or they thought, it turned a man into a monkey. So it was allowed him to transform into this creature. Right. The second button granted it super strength, so it was really strong. And the third made him invisible. Okay. So these are some kind of little far out there ideas, perhaps, but so far it aligns
with claims from just
eyewitnesses. I didn't have a specific name, but it was kind of gathered in police reports. But I guess these, when they saw the description, they say you push the button and he disappeared, or he pushed the button and he could do strong things or whatever, but I think I'll get in maybe a little bit later why that is relevant here. So it sounds crazy, right? But well, as you can imagine, it made for good news fodder. And once it started getting reported on it, it just got even bigger, as things do, kind of layers on tops of layers. And this attack remained in the headlines for about 2 weeks. And media patrolled the streets at night in New Delhi trying to get video or a photo of this thing that was attacking people. None were able to be captured, though. However, the fear amongst the people of the area was so intense that they stopped sleeping outside and were constantly calling the cops for every bump or thing they heard in the night. So as there were no creatures caught, the people took up arms and started like patrolling the street, like roving bands of vigilantes in the streets looking for the Kaala Bandar. So it's getting kind of heavy there, right? So this spiraled out of control. And in one incident, Zane, a group of about 150 people beat an innocent man who was just hanging out. He was just out there. And the mob also attacked a van driver. Just like anything that seemed off to them, like, you're the Kaala Bandar. Bah, 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 bah. Like, God, they were just looking for something to break, I guess. All right. So the police then said, hey, we need to squash this hysteria. And they interviewed more people about what the monkey man looked like. And they came up with these sketches here. Let me... This is what the police say. This was the Kaala Bandar, right? The police say, hey, it's not really a monkey man. It's this. These are the people that are attacking people.
There's like renderings from like GoldenEye, like the character.
Yeah, I know, right? They're horrible. But those were the sketches. Those were what they provided them. Okay. So, okay, not really what the other witnesses report, right? So if you ask me, I think they just did this to help quiet the public down. Like, look, we got it under control. Here's what the monkey man actually looks like. And it just shows some random person's face, which is why they look so weird. They probably just like CGI'd something and from the early days or whatever, computer grabs so it wasn't an actual person. And it's like, this is the culprit. Just calm down. We'll get him,
I feel like, especially on the right, there are several men who probably fit that description. So I feel like that could have caused even more chaos.
I don't think so. Maybe they composited
the guy on the left, but
he's like kind of like DB Cooper, the Indian DB Cooper from the parachute guy that jumped out. Kind of like that.
I'm not that familiar with that.
He was like the guy in the was it like the 70s, and he like hijacked a plane with a bunch of money and jumped out, and no one knows what happened to him. It's kind of a famous case. It'd probably be funny. Yeah, it might be fun to do an episode on him. So anyway, I think they just kind of made these composite pictures up and just to kind of quiet everyone down. So also to help ease the tension, the police unleashed 3,000 additional policemen into the city to patrol the areas that the sightings were coming from during the nighttime. But the reports didn't stop. And on May 17th, they said a $50,000 rupee reward, which in 2001 would have been about $1,000 USD. But today, I think 50,000 rupees is equivalent to about 270,000 rupees with inflation. So that's about like $2,500 in US dollars now. So just kind of give you an idea of
pretty good
kind of
sum,
money.
though, I'm sure. For
What's
people
that?
to find pretty good sum for people to find this robotic monkey thing.
Especially in the areas that this was happening, the kind of poor slum areas, it's like that's good money. I mean, that's good money for any time. Like it's like, hey, someone offered me that much to go find something. I'd probably go out there at night, try to find it, So pretty good reward would have been given to anyone who was able to capture or provide info that would lead to the arrest of Kaala Bandar. No bites, though, as you can imagine. Despite the increased controls and the increase in money, no captures or arrests of this thing were made, or these two gentlemen here. And by May 25th, reports started to go away. Like not as frequent, not as often. The police took a harder look at fake calls to determine that out of the 379 calls about the Kaala Bandar, only about 76 of them weren't fake. So a lot of them were people, I guess, either hyperventilating, making up stuff like, they heard a noise in their trash can. It was just a cat or whatever. It was just, them exaggerating, or maybe somebody trying to get in on the action and pull the leg of the cops, right? But 76 of them weren't fake. So that's still a lot of credible calls that the police said, hey, these 76, they're legit. And all in all, about 70 people were injured from what was reported from these attacks. So it's a significant volume of calls and amount of people that were experiencing some kind of ill effect from whatever was happening at this time. So, okay, so let's get into some theories, perhaps. And this is a little bit more fun on the speculation part. So we have one theory is shapeshifters. All right, so kind of like a skinwalker, because it has a slightly different appearance to different people. And I did see an interesting comment from someone on Quora who seemed credible. They mentioned that it stemmed from someone practicing black magic. Okay, so let's see. Can you make this one bigger?
Let's see. Up to me.
Yeah, kind of hard to see that. Let me kind of just read the relevant parts here for everyone, and you can kind of we'll put the link to Quora in the show notes too, so you can go do it directly himself. So anyway, so this guy, he goes by MJ, and he's like, he on Quora, if you're not familiar, it's like a place where you can ask questions and experts answer the questions, right? This guy lived there. So according to this guy, he said there was a man by the name of Vijay Ghaizayabad. Nailed it. And he learned black magic when he was in Bengal. And he told his wife that he could turn himself into a monkey. His wife didn't believe him. To prove himself, he decided to go for turning him into a monkey. He asked his wife to pour a saucer full of water on him to turn him back to normal. So it's like, okay, I can turn into a monkey, but when I do, pour this water on me and I'll go back to normal. All right. I'll turn back into a human. So instantly, once he becomes a monkey, she's supposed to pour the water on him. The water,
like, because what if his wife just like freaked out and just ran away and like he's stuck being a monkey or something?
Yeah. So I think that's kind of what happens. So the water had with like it was like black magic infused water, right? Kind of like holy water, but with black magic verses infused into it. So it was magical water. So the moment he mumbled his black magic and turned himself into a monkey, he actually became the black monkey, the monkey monster, whatever. His wife got scared when this happened and dropped the saucer of water that she was supposed to dump on him to turn him back. So then onward, that black monkey, he got loose and he was unable to perform his magic and communicate. He killed his wife and in the form when he was in this monkey form because he wasn't a human anymore. And around a week after the incident got out in this area of New Delhi, the GZB, I think that's the neighborhood's kind of section of what it's called. The monkey man was spotted in the other sections where all the breakouts were around 4 a.m. And then gradually this became a hysteria, obviously. Specifically to the semi-urban and rural areas, people used to wake up all night and watch. And around a month, that hysteria happened in New Delhi, and it became national and global news. So that's what he was saying. Like, hey, this thing has happened because some black magic practitioner, his spell got away from him, and he went on a rampage because he wasn't human anymore. Because that idiot wife of his forgot to pour water on him. So what do you think of that theory, perhaps?
It's definitely interesting. It makes for a good story, that's for sure. I got kind of a crazier theory. I don't know why, but I can go into later if you want to go into other ones.
Yeah. Let's we'll
but
get
that's
your
a fun
theory.
kind of like fantastical theory that I would gravitate towards.
Sure. Well, let's do a couple more of these and see if maybe one of yours aligns or kind of parallels some of these. So Here's another theory: is that hey, it was actually just monkeys that were attacking people.
Yeah.
So here's a monkey. This is was it a rhesus macaque monkey? This is a very common monkey in India, and the most common one is this rhesus macaque. They are brownish to gray color and about 20 inches long. They weigh about 15 pounds. And get this thing, New Delhi is home to about 30,000 of these monkeys.
Oh my God.
They're kind of a nuisance, but they're very common and people are used to them, right? So I kind of think misidentifying a monkey that is very common that people are aware of probably isn't what's happening here. Plus, this is kind of small. It's not like the 4 to 5 feet tall kind of a mannish.
They're like a little bit bigger than like a house cat, essentially, right?
Yeah, they're not terribly big. I kind of feel it would be like if people in the suburbs misidentified a possum or a raccoon as like a raccoon man attacking people. It seems like they know what the difference is. I don't know. What do you think about that?
People, and they get like territorial over like food and stuff. So like they are, like you said, they're a nuisance. So
yeah. But you know what those are. You're not going to misidentify that as a raccoon man.
Yeah.
possum girl attacks.
Even if it was at night, like I feel like you would be able to tell.
Yeah, because they're small, they're not 4.5 feet tall.
Right.
So okay, that's one of the theories there. And it would be like kind of like also like it would be like misidentifying a raccoon for something the size of a black bear. That's a bit of a discrepancy. So another on here is it's a human monkey hybrid experiment. So could it have been an escaped super soldier experiment released by the government? I don't think so. I kind of throw this one out. Let's see. How about
that's kind of where I was kind of thinking, maybe not necessarily like a hybrid, or like it's some sort of government agent type thing or psyop thing where they have like suits that can kind of like change their appearance, and they're just kind of testing it on the unwilling public or something like that.
Okay, so you think the government has like a monkey suit, and they were like the Indian government?
Sure, I don't know.
Okay,
just maybe they're just kind of testing it out. And
okay, well, I like it. I guess it's
kind of weird.
Yeah, I like. I mean, I would wear a monkey suit that had those powers. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that one on my list as a government monkey suit, but I remember there's an old show that was called Mantis back in the day, and it was kind of like a superhero-y type thing on late night, like USA. I think it came on like way back in the day. And it was like this guy, and he had this suit, and he couldn't walk normally, but when he put the suit on, he could walk and do like superhero-y type things. I kind of think that, but with your monkey man suit, that would be cool.
I think I did watch a little bit of that, but I don't really remember.
It wasn't very popular, and it wasn't on a long time, so I vaguely remember it myself.
People weren't into the whole mantis suits government.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time, though. I think they should bring it back.
Okay.
So monkey man suit. I don't know about that, but there's another theory out there that it was a Hindu deity avatar. So some people thought this creature was an avatar for the Hindu deity Manuman. Manuman, I think that's how you say it. And he attacked people because he was angry at them for not following his practices or something like that, or they disrespected him. And this is a picture here. This is that deity. So you can see he was like a half monkey, half man type of deity, and kind of looks like what was described a little bit. He's got like dark color here. He's got clothing.
He's like ripping apart his chest. I guess that is his heart or something.
I think those were other gods inside his chest. I'm not that up on my Hindu deities, and I didn't deep dive onto this one so much because I thought maybe that would get a little dense because it gets a little confusing for me. Sure. But that's essentially what he looked like. He was a half human-y, half monkey type of deity. And I thought, man, that's kind of an interesting theory. I think, I could see that maybe being a thing. Another theory, a very popular one: aliens.
Okay.
Now, maybe it was an alien or a lost alien pet. Some speculation is that much like the chupacabra, and I guess the Cora guy alluded to in his post that the small aggressive creature has some similarities with the Puerto Rican chupacabra, kind of like it was just kind of left behind and by accident and kind of attacked people because it was an alien pet or some kind of thing like that.
That's what the chupacabra is supposed to be?
That's one of the theories, or like it was a government experiment type of thing. But some people think, oh, it was an alien pet and they left it behind by accident.
I haven't heard that theory before, actually.
Yeah, you got to separate the chupacabra, like the Puerto Rican one, and like the one that they say like the Texas chupacabra. Like that's more like a dog. Like
right, that's the one I'm thinking of. But just in general, I haven't heard the idea of like alien pets being left behind and messing with people.
Yeah, that's also a theory on some Bigfoot speculation. Like, oh, it's like aliens kind of drop him off and he does something here and they pick it back up later.
All right.
I like that theory. I like the alien pet theory. That's a fun one.
Interesting.
All right. So another theory, crazy men in masks. Cause they said, some people said it looked like he was wearing a mask. So maybe it was just a hobo and he got a mask and he was like going around attacking people. Maybe. I don't know. Not my favorite. Another one. Now, this is the one I think is most popular with, the experts and scientists, is the mass hysteria aspect. So I think most people, and certainly authorities and doctors, attribute this to mass hysteria, which is defined as a social illness, defined as a constellation of symptoms suggestive of organic illness, but without an identified cause in a group of people with shared beliefs about the cause of the symptoms. So an example attributed to mass hysteria would be like in the Middle Ages, the dancing sickness where people dance themselves to death. It's called like dance mania. Probably an interesting topic for its own thing. But there is skepticism here because to the cause, and I think we can agree that people in large groups to act and do often act in strange ways, so like that does happen, but I don't know. I kind of think that that's not what's happening here, but kind of another example of mass hysteria would be something like the Salem witch trials, just people like, oh, that's a witch. Yeah. Everybody's a witch. So kind of here, like people are seeing this monkey man thing everywhere and they're like, yeah, that's it. That's the monkey man. We're going, yeah, that's the monkey man. But in this case, I think it's a bit dismissive, as it also discredits claims from people kind of like at lower economic levels, because it's like, oh, these poor uneducated people, they're just having a mass hysteria outbreak because they're stupid. That's kind of like the tone I think a lot of people use with mass hysteria. Plus, this thing had like physical, left marks on people. And I think people were describing things similarly enough that they weren't necessarily talking to one another because they were giving police reports. So I think there was like, hey, yeah, I saw this thing. It looked like this. This thing looked like this. I was talking to, Bob, and he said it looked like this. So I don't like mass hysteria. Some people attribute it to pretty much anything that's a sighting that groups of people see. I don't know what your take on mass hysteria is.
I know it sounds terrifying. Yeah, I mean, I can see, with just my kind of limited knowledge of kind of religions and the cultures in India, especially in these very popular and overpopulated towns. Like, I think any little thing can cause mass hysteria quickly. I think people over there in these type of cities and countries, like they're already kind of like amped up and stressed out a bit because they're just like surrounded in such dense populations.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think a little thing, anything like this could get people going. And
stress is a factor. I want
to be part of it.
Yeah, stress is a factor that, kind of will trigger mass hysteria. So you can see these people like working long hours and maybe, they're attributing it to it. I could see maybe those reports that were deemed fake, by the police. Mm-hmm. I could see maybe some of that being tied to elements of what goes on into mass hysteria.
And I don't know in Indian culture if they're pretty like superstitious. So I don't know if they're prone to, like, if any type of thing like this happens, like, they might freak out, or I'm not sure about that, but that could be a factor.
Well, some people think so, but let me get to my favorite theory. And I think this is one that, remember I told you to hold on to that thing I was talking about earlier with the jumping and the things on its feet and kind of the panels on its chest. So this is my favorite tie. So spring-heeled Jack. Have you ever heard of spring-heeled Jack?
I think you mentioned it to me before, but I can't remember. So yeah, elaborate for all of us.
Sure. Yeah. So this is kind of the Kaala Bandar has a striking similarity to the spring-heeled Jack thing. That and spring-heeled Jack, I think, is deserving of its own episode for sure. So I'm not going to get too deep into its lore and stuff like that. But briefly, this was an English creature or person of sorts, and it was first sighted in 1837. And this was reported all over the UK and in London and surrounding areas. And he was described thusly. Spring-heeled Jack was described by people who claimed to have seen him as having a terrifying and frightful appearance with diabolical face, clawed hands, and eyes that resembled red balls of fire. One reported claim that beneath a black cloak, he wore a helmet and a tight-fitting white garment with like an oilskin. Many stories also mention a devil-like aspect. Others said he was tall and thin with the appearance of a gentleman. Several reports mentioned that he could breathe out blue flames and white flames, and that he wore sharp metallic claws on his fingertips. Now, here's some pictures here of spring-heeled Jack. Let's see. Can you make that bigger for the people?
Yeah.
So the jumping aspect here is what, and the claws and the kind of the dark appearance here, particularly interesting. So this is from some 1860s books about spring-heeled Jack after the event, kind of like the pulp type stories here. And just as a side note, some people say this is Batman was kind of based off of this fellow here.
Yeah, I got the Batman vibes a little bit.
But here's another illustration of spring-heeled Jack.
Boing.
Yep, very jumpy. And some other ones here. It's kind of hard to see these. You might have to maximize your screen, listeners, if you're watching on YouTube here. But I mean, look at it. It's like especially that center one, kind of like a feral-looking little creature. It's got crazy-looking hair. I guess you could kind of say it has a monkeyish face. It's more of a devil here in this thing. But the way it attacked people in the stories, and I guess the gadgets on its feet, and like it had like stuff like on its chest that could also like produce some color type of things, and its eyes. And so the descriptions of spring-heeled Jack from the time kind of have some parallels to this Kaala Bandar type of creature. And I think that's a very interesting, I'll stay there. That's kind of a very interesting tie. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm seeing like parallels to like Batman. Like he's got all these little gadgets, and like he's just a menace to some people. I guess Batman's a menace to some people in that universe. But
yeah, he kind of took Spring-heeled Jack kind of took on like an anti-hero almost type of persona later on. But the first accounts, and like I said, I wasn't going to get too deep into all of its stories about its attacks and things like that. But very similar. It jumps in, like it slashes you with its claws, jumps out quick before anybody can get really a good look at it. Yeah. Aside from, it can jump really high. It's got these things on its feet, spring heels, because it can jump real high. It's got these metal claws, similar to what was described in the Kaala Bandar. Its eyes are red or blue sometimes, or white flame.
Like some sort of like demon that's just out there, just messing with people.
Yeah, I think, we could get into more theories on spring-heeled Jack, but I think I'll save that for another episode just because it's so deep on its own lore there. But I think the similarities there with its helmet, claws, and feet, and dark kind of coat coloring, and the quickness and how it attacked people seem to be something to think about anyways. So A plus side of the Kaala Bandar sightings is that crime went down for a time in New Delhi, as reported by the BBC. Here's the BBC talking about it. So you have a lot of reputable, news organizations talking about this entity and its effects on New Delhi. And Delhi has one of the, if not the highest crime rate in the country of India today. And in 2001, I'm sure it was similar. So it was something like, there's like a calculation you can do to get the percentage of crime. So I did that calculation. So it's like something like 392.66 crimes per 100,000 people in New Delhi. So that's fairly high as a parts to the thing. So when this creature was doing its attacks, crime went down significantly. So you had a relatively safer environment aside from those vigilantes going around beating up people just standing there. Now, I will say in 2002 in India, there was another flap of similar incidents with something called the Mano Chawa, or face scratcher, which villagers reported being bitten by a light emitting entity or like a UFO type of thing, maybe, but it left scratches and bruises on faces and arms. Also, this thing could give electric shocks. So you have other reports in other areas of India of something similar going on, and that electricity type of thing. I think Spring Hill Jack also had some elements of that as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with this thing. Like, you have a very short time period of stuff happening, some credible people talking about the marks it left on them, eyewitnesses, police accounts, reputable news sources reporting it, some other similar sightings happening nearby, and then nothing. It disappears. It was the early 2000s, and I don't think there's been any inclination of something like this happening again anywhere in India, at least, and nowhere else that I've heard of. So that's kind of where I'm at. What do you think of the Kaala Bandar?
I don't know. It's certainly a strange story. I don't know what to think of it.
Yeah, it's it's one I think a lot of people are not familiar with, unless you probably live in India.
That's pretty surprising, the strong similarities to Spring Hill Jack. I remember, you bringing it up a while ago. And it's what if it, to get like crime down, like going back, is some sort of government psyop conspiracy thing. They use some sort of agent who does this and then like brings down crime because people are too afraid to go out in the streets, or they stay in. So
I did have a thought like that earlier when I was getting ready for this. I was like, you know what, that might be a good business, is to like go to cities that have high crime and just like, hey, we can get your crime down for a couple weeks or a month or something if we just report this monster in the newspapers. You want to do it? It's a good side hustle, I think.
Yeah.
Monsters Inc.
I don't know the credibility of the news sources in New Delhi and all that. I don't know if they would do something like that. And I mean, that would get some clicks and follows and views and all that. I don't know.
Well, it was a hot story for the time when it was happening, but it wasn't like just tabloid nothing papers. Like, they were BBC, CNN in India, like India Times even. I think there's all their big papers and stuff reported about it. So,
well, like Bigfoot, like I remember, I don't know, like 2010's time, like there was CNN reported on possible like carcass found, and it blew up, and it turned out to be a fake, but that got big. So there's always like, I feel like, a cycle of these type of things get big again, and the main outlets will cover it. But there's a lot of eyewitness testimony, and it's just a strange story. I don't know what to make of it.
Maybe it's just an element of high strangeness where the phenomenon periodically pops into our reality, does something crazy just to let people know, hey, there's something crazy out here, and leaves again. Maybe that's a thing for it. I don't know.
I feel like that sounds like one of the worst locations for this type of thing to happen, because it sounds like everyone, like I said, is already stressed because they're all living together in one spot, and it can cause some hysteria, and a lot like a newsworthy events would happen because of that.
Yeah. Who's to say? Well, I don't know if our listeners have a theory on it. They can let us know. But I think it's time to draw something, Zane. Perhaps. So I think we all know what we're drawing this week.
Egyptian mummies.
Yeah. Yes. No. I think we'll draw, a monkey man or something like that. Draw the Kaala Bandar to the best of your abilities. And ready for it? You let me know when you're ready, Zane.
Do I need to like switch out of this, or you got it?
Oh, I think I got it. I'll add the stage thing. Ready?
Okay. Yes.
Where will they draw? We wonder. Will it be a house, a cat, or thunder? Oh no, the pictures suck, oh dear. But we cheer them on, the friends, let's hear. Josh is sketching something round. Zane's lines are all over town. The crayons fly in colors burst, but their art is the worst.
All right. Let's see what we drew today.
Is it me?
I think it's you first again. Or I can go first, and let me just switch me over here. All right. There we go. All right. Here's my Kaala.
Why do you draw them so small?
Because they can draw faster. There you go. You see him?
He looks like some like Incan god or something like that. I don't know how that looks simian at all.
Well, I only had a short amount of time. I didn't get a lot of details.
Well, at the Field Museum, there was a lot of like Incan and like Native American and type gods. So that's what that looked like. That did not look like this ape creature.
Hey, it appeared in the shadows really quick, Zane. That's the best look I had.
All right.
Let's see yours.
All right. Let's see. How do I?
It's hit your full screen little tab there.
I'm trying to do that. Oh, do I have to switch myself around?
No, you should be fine. I had you in the right spot. There.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Oh, okay. What? Oh, I see. You drew the panels on his chest. That's very good. All right.
It's stuck out. He kind of looks more like a cat or something.
Or like a roadkill, like he got ran over.
Yeah. I try to do fur. We'll just say that's like stink lines because probably smells like crap.
Okay.
He's prowling around.
All right. I like it. I think you did pretty good. I mean, would I say monkey off the top of the head?
Yeah, it looks more like a cat.
Yeah, but that's pretty good for a short amount of time. I like you draw much bigger, quicker, so that's good. So, all right, well,
microscope for your drawing.
Hey, I zoom it in, people can see it. That's fine. And I think if you got pictures you want to share with us, go ahead and let us know. You hit us up on the socials with it, or send us an email, heyguys@telltaleguys.com, and let us know if you have any cool stories or other things you want us to cover. We're glad to do that. Zane, you got anything else for him?
No, that's it. Just be careful when you go onto your rooftops and all that, or you might be attacked by this cyborg monkey government agent thing. Yeah,
bring some spare bananas to throw and distract them.
There you go.
All right, that's all this week.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Nighttime spree, talking tales that make you see an ape man prowling New Delhi, scaring folks like it's all a dream. Was it a guy or just a beast? Government plot or wild release? Hysteria spread from west to east. Telltale guys unleash the feast. Mysterious ape man in the night, shadow moves out of sight. Who's behind this endless fright? The truth hides in the pale moonlight. Roaring streets, a whisper loud. Rumors weave through the crowd. In the podcast, theories aloud. Mysteries leave people unraveling the ape man's math. Mysterious ape man in the night. Shadow moves out of